Two people can encounter the exact same stressful life event, yet experience completely different reactions to it. One person can be greatly impacted, whereas the other, not so much. Now, don't get me wrong, stress is experienced by everyone, yet it's often experienced at different levels and in different ways. In fact, just because you've experienced a traumatic event doesn't mean that you'll be traumatized by it. A person can even experience a horrendous near-death experience and walk away relatively unscathed. Yet another person can simply witness that near-death experience and be severely traumatized by it. So, because of the critical incident that you have encountered or the adverse life circumstance that you currently find yourself in, how do you know if your stress is turning into distress? Well, in the same way that you can speak to your body, encouraging, instructing, and reminding it, well, you can also listen to what your body is telling you. Your body gives you signals, kind of a little bit like the lights that appear on the dashboard of your car when driving. If you see a red light flashing, it's not just a light getting excited about the music flashing in time with the rhythm of the song. No, it's a signal letting you know something might be wrong. But the signal is not designed to make you panic. Rather, it's communicating that in order for you to keep on driving well without incident, well, a particular course of action might be required. In the same way, body signals don't just appear without reason. There's usually a trigger that's caused your body to react. Your body signals are indicators of what might be happening. So by learning what your body signals mean, well, you can better know what's the right course of action to take. For example, how do you know when you're feeling tired? Or how do you know when you're hungry or in need of the bathroom? These signals are easy to identify, and what's more is they're telling you to take action, because if you ignore the toilet signal for too long, well, that could just be a little bit embarrassing. But now, let me ask you, what happens to your heart, your head, or your stomach when you're feeling scared? What do you do when you feel angry? What happens to your sleeping patterns when you're feeling so overwhelmed? Well, chances are you know the signals for these experiences too. You're intuitive because you've had a lifetime of living in your body. So let me ask you if having a rest, eating some food, and relieving yourself are the appropriate responses for the obvious signals of being hungry, tired, and in need of the bathroom. Well, what's the appropriate course of action to mitigate mental and emotional distress? While it's critically important we understand and respond to the signals that our body gives us, even better than being reactive is to be proactive. Health experts tell us that when we're feeling thirsty, it's not just our body's way of telling us that we're craving a drink, it's actually a warning signal that we're already dehydrated. So rather than waiting for the sign that something's wrong, why not preemptively make things right? The challenge for most of us is that when we face unpredictable or difficult times, we discover how little control we have over things. This is why anxiety is so common during this season. Our anxiety flares due to our inability to control our circumstances. We might lose control over our employment, our business, or our finances. We might lose control over our health or even the harmony in our home. But even though there are many things in our life where we might end up feeling out of control, there are always areas in our life that we can absolutely maintain control over. The key is whether or not you believe it. How strongly a person believes that they have control over their life is categorized in psychology as a person's locus of control. Now, locus is just a fancy word for location. In other words, where is or who has the control over your life? You either believe that outside forces will determine your destiny, which is an external locus of control, or you believe it's you. You have the capacity to forecast your future through the free will choices that you make and the strategies that you implement, which is internal locus of control. The irony is, if you hand over the control of your life to outside forces, believing that it's the government or authorities or economic environments or even spiritual forces that control you, well, it's actually within your control to hand over your control. Do you get it? Even surrendering to God is within your control. It might sound like an oxymoron or somehow counterintuitive to say it's within your control to surrender your control. But look, the truth is, no one else can do it for you. It's often said that you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. But your control isn't just reactive, you can also control how you proactively implement foundations in your life that also, at some level, can influence what happens to you. In fact, when it comes to psychological security, there are 5 foundational areas of life that can exert a certain degree of control over your life so as to prevent stress from becoming distress. The 5 foundations for mental health and emotional well-being are sleep, diet, exercise, relationships, and thoughts. Let's take a quick look at each of these. One of the kindest things that you can do for yourself during this season is to give yourself permission to rest. Look, stress is exhausting and it takes a toll on your body. However, sleep helps to reduce the effects of stress. So the first foundation is to be intentional about prioritizing sleep so that your brain and body can be replenished, which will give you the strength and the energy that you need to persevere in this season. Now, when it comes to sleep, quality is just as important as quantity. So be sure to check out the sleep quality guidelines in the activity download that accompanies this session. The second foundation is diet. The experience of tragedy can often contribute to a loss of appetite, or on the flip side, it can lead us to seek comfort in food. It's important to be mindful of what you eat because what you eat affects how you feel and how you function. In fact, there's a vast amount of research linking healthy eating habits with mental health and mental performance. So be intentional about providing your brain and your body with the best fuel possible to prepare you for the journey that still lays ahead. Remember, healthy choices lead to choices that are healthy. The third foundation is exercise, which is probably the furthest thing from your mind when walking through adversity, and understandably so. Look, in the midst of grief and uncertainty, your daily routine and well-intended goals, well, they tend to take a back seat when you're dealing with the demands of disaster. Surely fatigue, low motivation, and a lack of energy all are justifiable reasons why you need a break. Yet, as justified as you might feel, you might be doing yourself a disservice. Regular physical activity helps regulate stress, improve sleep, and contributes to clarity of mind. So do yourself a favor. Move your body to improve your mood and invigorate your mind. The fourth foundation is investing in relationships. It's often said that a problem shared is actually a problem halved. And when you invest in relationships that make you laugh, comfort you when you cry, give you opportunities to serve, offer you wise counsel and prayer, well, your burden is unquestionably lifted. Now, it doesn't mean that your problems magically disappear and go away, but having someone by your side lends you reassurance, gives you motivation, courage, practical support, and emotional comfort. Look, relationships aren't always full of sunshine, but as the saying goes, 2 people can share an umbrella and survive the storm together. The last foundation where your intentionality and control is absolutely required is your thought life. You see, thoughts lead to feelings, and as the proverb says, as a person thinks in their heart, well, so they become. Learning to master your mind is so important that we've dedicated an entire session to it later on in this program. In fact, what you learn could blow your mind.